If it decides to load for me, that would be nice. If it decides to load up JanOne. Is that the name of a company, or is that a date? Wow, this is an old company. Okay, so a company that, I mean, I've seen a chart similar to this before. It's not quite as egregious as ones I've seen, because, you know, there's some I've seen with this kind of pattern where you look back on it 20 years ago and it was trading in the several hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to the price today. But it's still, you know, it's still not great. This is not the sign of a healthy company. And a company that has not been healthy for most of its life. It did have some life back in 07, 09. But then that was quickly dashed. Oh, I can't imagine why. What happened in 08 again? And then it's kind of, actually no, you know, it's had moderate movement in the interim years. It reached up to 25 in 2011, 2012. Got to the high teens in 2014. Has been languishing pretty bad since then. Has in the past year or so did have a little bit of an uptick. I wonder what that's about. Perhaps we can find out by looking through some news. Clinical supply of lead product candidate Jan 101 for distribution to Phase 2B. Okay. So Phase 2 is good. And what are these numbers about? They actually have revenue? No, that can't be right. That doesn't make it. And they actually had profit in No, something's going on here. Clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focused on identifying, acquiring, licensing. I think those numbers are lying to me. I want to see a release about earnings to compare those numbers to. Which I don't see. I don't see any releases about earnings. I do see that they have offered shares recently. Price is $6 million common stock offering. Company focused on developing treatments for conditions that cause severe pain and drugs with non-addictive pain-relieving properties. Is that what they do? Partnering, clinical focusing on identifying, acquiring, licensing, developing, partnering, and commercializing novel, non-opioid, non-addictive therapies to address the unmet medical need for the treatment of pain. Operates in 3 against biotechnology, recycling, and technology. Company's lead product candidate targets blood flow cells. And designs, develops, and sells cellular transceiver modules and associated wireless services. So they actually have its... You know what? I kind of like this business model for a clinical stage company. They're not just sitting around developing treatments for things while they hemorrhage money. They actually have products in somewhat related but also slightly different fields to, I assume fund that research that they do. I kind of like that business model. You're not just taking money and hoping you make a good product. No, you have to have a decent business in which you're trying to fund the research that you're doing. I kind of like that business model a lot more. Than just plain old clinical stage companies. Company focus on developing treatments for investors purchase this many shares for a common stock at a price of $10.50. Price of $10.50. Is that where it was trading back in January? No, yeah. Yes, actually. What day was this? January 29th. Yes. In fact, it was... You know, I wonder if the time... I wonder if the timing of that is very strange, because it spiked up to $12.99 right before that. So I wonder if this spike was because people knew this was coming, or if the company saw that spike and said, we can take advantage of this by selling shares and raising some money. So was it a chicken and the egg scenario? I don't know, and I don't really think it matters all that much either. It's more of a you know, piece of trivia, if anything. Definitive agreement to sell its recycling business. Whoa, wait. Oh, I wish I had read that one. I like this actually. I'm usually very. I know I usually don't like clinical stage companies, but I kind of like the way this one is set up. They are doing research while also selling products. Again, I assume to fund said research. They're not just taking money and throwing it into a fire pit, hoping that the fire pit comes out with something good. I like that. I actually like that. I know I was kind of mean about the chart earlier, but I kind of like what they're doing. I do. I honestly do. And the fact that this last quarter actually turned a profit, potentially for the first time in forever, I think that's very promising. I think that's very promising. I like it. I like it a lot. In fact, I'm willing to give it a buy. I'm willing to give Jan a buy. I like it. I like the stock.